Hello Gemini, this is Teresa from tarotbyt.com, and I'm getting ready to do your TarotScope, your love TarotScope for July. And before we do this, I want to bring in the angels. I want to create sacred space. And I want to say thank you everyone for liking and commenting and subscribing to my channel. I hope these readings are helping everyone, and it really makes me feel good to know that they are helping some people. I love reading all your comments, and I try to answer every single one of them if I can. Excuse me. Okay, let me just take a drink of water. And we'll start shuffling. What does Gemini need to know in July about their love life? What does Gemini need to know about love in July? What does Gemini need to know about love this July? What's coming up? What does Gemini need to know about their love life in July? What is coming up for Gemini? Okay. The Three of Wands. The Two of Swords. The Three of Cups. The Death card. Now this doesn't mean death, so don't panic. In case you don't know. The Empress. The Nine of Wands. The Queen of Swords. The Strength card. The High Priestess. And the Page of Swords. Okay, let's see what you got. Well, the Three of Wands is actually in the present. It's a good card because it means that you've been putting energy towards something. Threes are a number of birth and creativity and harvest. And you've got some major harvest cards here. You have the Empress, which is the major arcana, which relates to the three, the number 3. And the Three of Wands represents the fruits of your labor. So you've worked towards something, you've put energies towards something, a goal, a relationship, a career endeavor, and now you're starting to see results. The three, the ships are coming back with laden with the goods in the Three of Wands. So you're going to start to see some results from all the hard work you've been doing. You're going to start to feel like, okay, I've done some things, and now I'm going to start to see things happen. Now, you have the Two of Swords here, which is it's crossing this. So you're experiencing success, but at the same time, you're having to make a decision. Because the Two of Swords is someone who's on the fence, trying to decide what direction they want to go in. And the swords are always mental stress. So with the two, you may have two paths to choose from. And you're not sure which one to take. So you're thinking about it, but you're not acting. And it could be that if you've had, sometimes with the two, you might have had a falling out with someone, and you're kind of waiting for that other person to make a move, and you're not, you're saying, well, let them call me, and I'm not going to call them. It could be one of these standoff situations where you're afraid to take the first step, or you're afraid to reach out to someone. So with the Two of Swords, you really need to drop your guard. And you really need to talk and say, okay, this is what I need, this is what I want, this is what I'd like to happen in our relationship. So you might be keeping this wall up around you where the other person feels like they can't penetrate. They can't get to you. They don't know how you're feeling, they don't know what you're thinking. You're kind of keeping people at a distance. So, and the two, it's hard to make a decision with the two because you want to see, there's too much you don't know. You're afraid of making the wrong choice. But you have a lot of good cards here. The two, there's rocks in this card, you know. You're afraid of getting hurt. You're afraid, if I drop my guard, will I get hurt? If I confess my emotions, my feelings, is this person, can I trust this person with my heart? And it looks like you've been through a lot in the past. And so it's caused you to maybe put up a front, a toughness, an independence. You know, I don't need anyone, I can handle it. I don't need your help. But sometimes it's okay to be a little vulnerable. You know, you've been doing things for yourself for so long and being so strong that now you're not sure, you don't know how to deal with this stuff that's coming back now. So you might be getting attention from someone and love from someone, and you don't know how to handle it because you've had to do your own thing for so long. You've lived so long without that, that you don't know what to do with it now that you have it. Or you're afraid of being hurt. You're afraid that something may screw it up in some way. But, you know, it's really just a mental thing with you because you have all these great cards. You have the Three of Cups in the past. So you have a lot of support and love in your life. You have good friends, family. It could be a group of people that you feel really close to, that you feel are there for you no matter what. You know, if you have any problems, you can call on them and you know that they're going to be there. Now, it's possible also that in the past, you may have gone through some kind of relationship where there was deception or infidelity. And so now you're afraid of taking a chance with someone new. You're afraid, like, well, if I really fall for this person, if I open up to this person, if I love this person, am I going to be hurt again? Is he going to cheat on me or is she going to cheat on me? Can I trust them? Basically, I think it's a trust issue and a fear of being vulnerable. And you have the Death card, so you've been through a lot of a transition, major transition in the past, and it may be still influencing you, but it is on its way out. So with the Death card, the Death is about clearing out the old to make room for the new. So you might have gone through a cycle of change recently where you walked away or moved away from whatever wasn't working. It could have been a relationship ended or a lifestyle ended. Maybe you changed jobs or you changed locations. You're starting a new cycle. So you might have been leaving behind whatever wasn't working, whatever just wasn't helping you to grow, was being cut away, was dying in a sense, in a metaphorical sense. The old life had to pass so that you could start a new life, a more beneficial life, a more creative life, a life that is more fulfilling. So you're moving. You've been through the state of transition, where you might have moved away from people that you cared about or situations that you cared about at one time, and then they were no longer working. So you decided to leave them behind and move to something new, move into a new direction. And this new direction is starting to pay off because you have the Empress card here, you have the Three of Wands, you have the Nine of Wands. So you've been working a long time. You've been working really hard for this. And I think maybe a part of you is just afraid of the success of it. Like, oh, is this real? Can I trust it? Because the Empress is always, it's the mother card. So it could be that if you wanted to have a family, now you're thinking about having children. And maybe you're afraid of it. You know, will I be able to do this? If it's not family, it could be some kind of a relationship that's suddenly blossoming. Or some type of creativity. You're working on something, you have an idea, and you want to express yourself in a new way. Because the Empress is creativity. It's not only just the mother. I mean, it could mean physical, having a child, being a mother, caring about the family. But it could also mean creating something that is like your baby. So it could be a new business idea. Or it could be a project that you're working on that you feel emotionally attached to, like it's your baby. And you want to see it grow and you have to nurture it. It could be a new way of life. It could be a metaphoric thing where you're like, I have to nurture this new path, Like a mother, I have to, feed it and water it and help it to grow. But it speaks more to who you are. So don't worry about what you left behind, because you're on a path that is more authentic. Now, the Nine of Wands, sometimes the Nine of Wands, it can mean two things. It can mean, one, that you need to stand up for yourself. You need to fight for what you believe in. Yes, there are obstacles. Nothing is easy. Nothing really worth getting comes easy. When you've struggled for something and then you get your reward, it is so much more satisfying because you know what you've gone through to get here. And so the 9 is also saying, don't give up. I know things have been difficult. You feel like I've been struggling. I'm not getting anywhere. You will get somewhere. But don't give up the fight. This is the card of don't give up the fight. Yes, I know you've been carrying the heavy burden. You've been feeling like you have to defend yourself at every turn. But keep nurturing that dream and you will achieve it. And also, if it's a relationship issue, the nine of Wands can also mean that there might be a problem that you thought you had resolved in a relationship that comes up to be dealt with again. So maybe you thought you had things worked out with someone, and now all of a sudden this problem arises and you have to deal with it again. But the card again is telling you not to give up, that you can get through this. You just have to keep your eye on the goal. Sometimes Geminis have a tendency to be scattered. So you need to just focus on what it is. What do I really want? Keep your eye on the goal and focus, and you're going to see the success. You have the Queen of Swords here on your fear, in your fear sector, your negative thinking. So this is telling me that maybe you're being a little bit too judgmental. You're not trusting this good fortune. You're looking for ways to criticize. Because the Queen of Swords, it can relate to the air signs, the Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. So it could relate to someone that fits that sign. But it could also be qualities within you where you've just been too independent. You've been too harsh in certain situations. Maybe you've lost your ability to dream, and life has made you cynical. So this is telling you, don't be too critical, don't be cynical. Embrace the success that's coming. Have faith that you're going to see this success. Maybe let your softer side come out a little bit. Maybe you've been a little too harsh or too rigid. You need to relax more and show your compassionate side, because you do have one. But you've been so tough for so long that you've almost forgotten how to be soft. So you need to let your guard down and show that softer, motherly, nurturing side. Show your creative side, the part of you that wants to have fun and that can laugh and enjoy life. It doesn't have to be hard. In your environment, you have the Strength card. So you have been working on yourself. And it could be that you're dealing with someone, if you're in a relationship, that person, well, one of you, it could either be the person or you, has been maybe going through some kind of counseling program where they're learning how to deal with their anger. They're learning how to tame the beast within. The Strength card is about learning how to not go to extremes of emotion, learning how to not overreact. Because sometimes, with the Strength card, you can get upset about something and you right away want to go into attack mode, or you want to get really upset and get angry and you feel like you want to boss people around, or use force to get your needs met. So this could be someone in your life that's dealing with these issues, dealing with issues of anger, dealing with emotional problems, and maybe someone that's going through can use counseling to help them deal with those issues. It could be you or it could be your partner, because this is in your environment, so it could be one of you. And whoever it is, they're really wanting to work on themselves. They really want to change. But they may need some help. They may need counseling to help them get through this, to help them learn how to get their needs met without using force, without being a bully, but being kinder, using a softer approach. Not going to extremes, learning to be calm, learning to see both sides. Coming up here is the High Priestess. So you had this dream, but it's almost like the High Priestess is about following your intuition, but it's also about things going on behind the scenes. So there may be some things that you feel like you need to check into, especially with the Page of Swords there. The Page of Swords is looking into things carefully, and sometimes the Page of Swords could represent gossip. So if you've heard some news that may have upset you, it may not be true. It may be just someone spreading rumors. So you need to look into it more. And before you make a decision, trust your intuition. Because you may feel, someone may come to you. The page sometimes can mean spying. It could also mean gossip, like some troublemaker is spreading rumors. And so you want to react like, oh my God, But a part of you inside is saying, well, I don't know. My gut feeling tells me that this is not right, that this is not true. Trust your gut. And look deeper into the messages you hear in July, because they might not all be true. Or if something comes up and you feel it's too good to be true, you may want to just look into it more deeply. So if someone comes to you with some kind of crazy story, before you believe it, check into it. Because it could also mean that you're dealing with someone who can be challenging. Because the page can sometimes be someone who's a little bit unstable. And they just like to cause trouble. So it could be a child, or it could be someone that you know that likes to spread gossip. But with the High Priestess, I would just trust your intuition. Trust that inner guide, and you won't go wrong. And you have the Empress card here, which is a good card. Don't be afraid to express yourself. Express who you are. And don't worry about what other people might say. Maybe you're worried about, are people going to talk about me if I decide to do this instead of that? If you take a path that you feel other people might not approve of, and maybe it's a career path, or it's a relationship, and you're worried about what people might say. Don't. Just follow your heart and be true to yourself. And don't be afraid to have that difficult conversation, because sometimes, a lot of times, the page is having a difficult conversation. You might have to talk to someone about something that feels uncomfortable, get you out of your comfort zone, and it could even just be feelings of love, but you're just not comfortable doing that. You're not comfortable expressing yourself, being vulnerable. So you need to have that conversation. And don't be afraid to drop your guard and speak to someone about what you need. Maybe the person you're wanting to talk to is intimidating, and you're afraid to speak up. So you need to speak up in July. And don't believe everything you hear. A lot of times people, rumors are not true. So the only way you get out the truth is by communicating. And so I think that communication is going to be important for you in July. So don't be afraid to communicate. Don't be afraid to find out the truth, to dig deeper so that you can make a decision. And drop your guard, and don't just react to what you hear. So there might be people around that just want to push your buttons, and they're waiting for you to react. So tame that inner beast. Be calm and trust your intuition. And you should be okay. That will allow the energy of the Empress to grow and lead to harvest. July can be a little challenging. There might be some surprise developments. But stay calm and communicate and just be yourself. Drop your guard, be yourself. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Focus on yourself, on self-development, and focus on your intuition. And you should be okay. And then you'll know which one to choose, the right path to choose. Especially after you have these difficult conversations that you might have to have in July. You'll know what path to be on, and that path will lead you to success once you make the right choice. And so the choice that you want to make is, what is it that speaks to my soul? What is it that expresses, that allows me to express my creativity, who I really am, gives me the freedom to be me. That's the path you want to be on. So I wish you luck in July, Gemini, and only the best. Luck and success and fulfillment. And have that conversation. You have the gift of gab. Geminis are the air, part of the air signs. They have a gift with communication. So use that gift, and it will lead you to success. Thank you, and I'll see you next month.